Life was never meant to be a race where the fastest wins, nor a riddle that demands solving. It is more like a sunrise, brief, breathtaking, and meant to be witnessed, not controlled. And yet, so many of us live as if we're being chased by time itself. We rush, we strive, we cling to the idea that happiness is waiting somewhere in the distance. But in that constant chase, we overlook the quiet miracle unfolding right now. The Japanese teaching of Ichigo Ichie reminds us, this moment will never return. Every encounter, every breath, every glance is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Think of the last time you laughed with a friend or held a warm cup of tea on a cold morning. That moment has already vanished, and it will never come back in exactly the same way. What if the secret to falling in love with life again isn't about adding more achievements, but about awakening to what is already here? To pause, to notice the breeze on your face, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, the smile of a stranger. These are not trivial details. They are life itself. Zen wisdom offers a simple but radical invitation. When walking, just walk. When eating, just eat. At first glance, these words seem ordinary, but hidden within them is a doorway to freedom. Because when you let go of regrets about yesterday and stop worrying about tomorrow, something shifts. The mind quiets, peace takes root, and gratitude begins to grow like a flower breaking through stone. So, what if this year you stopped rushing? What if you gave yourself permission to simply live, moment by moment, without needing to win or prove anything? The truth is, impermanence isn't a curse. It is a gift. By remembering that everything changes, we are freed from the burden of control. We can finally see the joy that has always been hiding in plain sight. And stay with me, because later in this journey I'll share a bonus lesson that has the power to completely change how you see your existence. But if you remember nothing else, let it be this. Life is not something to conquer. Life is something to embrace, to cherish. One irreplaceable breath at a time. One, the miracle, hidden in a single moment. Picture yourself beneath a wide sky as the very first snow of the season begins to fall. Each flake is delicate, each design unmatched, and within seconds, it disappears into the earth. These snowflakes are not unlike the moments of our lives, fragile, fleeting, and never to be repeated. And yet, how often do we rush past them without truly seeing? We live in a world that urges us to move faster, to accomplish more, to look endlessly toward what's next. But in this hurry, we forget that the most sacred treasures of life are already happening, right here, in this breath, in this heartbeat. Think of something as simple as your morning coffee. Most days, it's gone before you even notice. Your mind already tangled in deadlines or unfinished tasks. But what if you allowed yourself to linger? To feel the gentle heat of the cup against your palms, to breathe in the richness of its aroma, to taste that first sip as if the world had paused just for you. Suddenly, what was ordinary becomes extraordinary. The Japanese way of Ichigo Ichii whispers a reminder. Every moment is a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. This second you are living will never return in the same way again. It is as precious as the cherry blossoms that bloom for only a short season before they fall. You can either rush past it or honor it as something sacred. So, how do we begin to live this way? Start by slowing down. Throughout your day, create pauses, small sanctuaries of presence. Let the sun's warmth soak into your skin. Listen closely to the laughter of someone you love. Notice the silence of evening settling around you. When you give yourself fully to a moment, you'll discover it has been waiting all along to give itself fully to you. And then, practice gratitude. Collect these moments like jewels, no matter how small. Write them in a journal, or simply let them echo in your heart before you fall asleep. With time, you'll realize your life is not empty. It's overflowing with unnoticed treasures. Most importantly, release the idea that a moment must be perfect to matter. A snowflake does not need to last forever to be beautiful. A quiet dinner, a small mistake, a long commute, all of it holds meaning if you are awake enough to see it. Life is not a puzzle of milestones, it is a mosaic of moments. Don't let them vanish while your eyes are fixed on tomorrow. This present instant, right here, is a gift. Hold it gently, before it slips away like snow on your fingertips. 2. The gift, hidden in impermanence. Imagine standing beneath a cherry tree just as it bursts into bloom. For a brief moment, the branches are alive with color, petals drifting like whispers in the wind. And then, almost as quickly as they appeared, they begin to fall. Fragile reminders that beauty does not last forever. Their power lies not in how long they stay, but in how deeply they touch us before they vanish. This is the essence of impermanence. Everything changes, everything fades. And though we often fear this truth, Buddhism teaches that impermanence is not a tragedy. It is the very reason life carries meaning. If blossoms covered the trees all year long, would we marvel at them with the same awe? Or would we pass by without noticing? The fleeting nature of life is what makes each laugh, each sunset, each tear so valuable. Yet most of us live as if things will last forever. We cling, we resist, we delay our gratitude, assuming there will always be more time. But what if time is the very thing we don't control? What if, instead of resisting impermanence, we welcomed it? What if we saw it as a reminder to love what is here now before it slips away? You can begin by practicing gratitude, not just for grand moments, but for the everyday miracles we often overlook. The warmth of your blanket at night, the taste of your favorite meal, the simple kindness in a stranger's smile. These things matter because they will not always be here. Let go, too, of the illusion of perfection, the chipped mug that still holds your morning coffee, the laugh you share even while struggling, the goodbye that stings because it carries so much love. These are not flaws in the design of life, they are proof of its depth. Imperfection makes us human, and impermanence makes it sacred. And finally, let impermanence move you to action. If you knew this very day could never return, how would you live it? Would you speak softer words, listen with more patience, or finally take the step you've been postponing? Life is not a guarantee, it is a gift. Like the cherry blossoms, we are here for a brief season, but in that time, we can bloom fully, offering all the beauty we hold within us. Remember, it is not permanence that gives life value, but fragility. Embrace the truth that nothing lasts forever, and you will discover the freedom to love more deeply, live more fully, and notice the wonder in every passing moment. 3. The harmony of doing one thing well. Picture a musician with a guitar in hand. If they attempt to tighten all the strings at once, what emerges is nothing but noise, scattered, discordant, overwhelming. But the moment they choose a single string, tuning it with care and patience, harmony begins to unfold. One note becomes music, and music becomes presence. Life is no different. When we scatter ourselves across a dozen tasks, our days dissolve into static, loud, yet empty. But when we give our attention fully to one act, even something ordinary, it transforms into a kind of melody that nourishes the spirit. In today's world, multitasking is praised like a superpower. We reply to emails while eating, scroll through endless feeds while watching movies, and half listen to loved ones while already planning the next day. And yet, beneath this performance of productivity, many of us feel hollow, tired, distracted, and strangely unsatisfied. Buddhism whispers a different approach. Do one thing, and do it with your whole being. This is the art of single tasking. Think back to your last meal. Did you taste it, truly taste it? Or was your mind elsewhere, trapped in headlines, worries, or the glow of a screen? Now imagine eating with full awareness. The color of the food, the texture as it rests on your tongue, the way flavors rise and fall like a gentle symphony. That ordinary meal becomes a meditation, an experience rather than an obligation. This is the hidden freedom of single tasking. It doesn't just change what you do, it changes how you feel while doing it. Begin small. Choose one daily act as your practice of presence. When you walk, walk as if you are greeting the earth with every step. Feel the firmness of the ground. Notice the dance of air on your skin. Listen to the rhythm of your breath. Suddenly, walking is no longer a way to get somewhere. It is an arrival in itself. Then, create boundaries for your attention. Silence the noise where you can. Turn off notifications. Close the extra tabs. Place your phone aside. Whether working on a project or sitting across from someone you love, give yourself fully to that moment. The result is not only deeper focus, but deeper connection. And perhaps most importantly, be patient. Single tasking is not about speed. It is about depth. It is a practice of slowing down enough to notice that life is already happening. The point is not to finish faster, but to live fuller. Like the musician tuning a guitar, the beauty lies in the act itself. When you grant yourself the gift of focusing entirely on one thing, you reconnect with life's rhythm and uncover joy where it had always been, hidden in plain sight. Single tasking is more than a technique. It is a path back to harmony, one note, one breath, one unrepeatable moment at a time. 4. Setting down the burdens of regret and anxiety. Picture yourself on a long road, dragging two heavy bags, one stuffed with regrets from the past, the other filled with anxieties about the future. Each step is slower than the last. Your shoulders ache, and the beauty of the path around you goes unnoticed. Eventually, you realize these bags were never meant to be carried. Regret binds you to what has already dissolved, and anxiety pulls you into shadows that may never appear. Between the two, there is no room left for life as it is happening now. But what if you loosened your grip? What if you set those bags down and discovered how light the journey could be? Buddhism reminds us of a simple but liberating truth. The present moment is all we truly possess. Yesterday has already vanished into memory, and tomorrow exists only in imagination. This moment, this breath, is your only certainty. Still, the voices of regret and worry can be persuasive. Regret whispers, "You should have done better." Anxiety warns, "What if everything goes wrong?" Yet neither voice speaks to reality. Reality is here, unfolding silently, waiting for you to notice. Think about a mistake you've replayed again and again, hoping the story might change. Did it ease your pain, or did it deepen it? Regret, if clung to, is a prison. But if understood, it becomes a teacher. Ask yourself, what did this experience reveal? How can it guide me toward wiser choices? Extract the lesson, then release the weight. Now look at anxiety, the constant parade of what-ifs. It projects fear into a future not yet born. The next time this storm rises, pause. Inhale deeply. Feel the breath travel through your body. Notice your feet pressing into the ground. The body does not lie. It tells you, in this very instant, you are safe, and this moment is enough. You can even train your mind through practice. When regret surfaces, write down the single lesson hidden inside it. Let the ink carry the weight from your heart onto the page. When anxiety flares, anchor yourself with the senses. Notice 5 things you see, 4 you can touch, 3 you can hear. Each act draws you back to the only place life is ever lived. Now. Letting go is not about denying the past or ignoring the future. It is about refusing to let them rule your life. When you release these heavy bags, your hands are free to hold the present with tenderness. Your heart feels lighter. The path ahead clears. Remember, peace is not buried in yesterday, nor waiting in tomorrow. It is always here, quietly waiting for you, in the stillness of today. 5. Loving more deeply, through awareness. Picture yourself at the edge of the sea, building a sandcastle. You shape the towers with care, carve the walls with patience, and decorate them with shells gleaming under the sun. For a short while, it feels like perfection. But as the tide rises, the waves begin their slow dance toward the shore. Inevitably, the water washes it all away. Relationships are much the same. They are breathtakingly beautiful, full of meaning and joy. But they too are impermanent. This impermanence is not meant to sadden us. It is meant to wake us up. It is a reminder that love is precious because it cannot be guaranteed. Buddhist wisdom teaches, every meeting is a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. Whether it is a stranger you pass on the street, a brief conversation with a colleague, or a lifetime shared with someone you cherish, that specific moment will never return. Awareness of this fleeting nature doesn't weaken love. It deepens it. When we realize that no hug, no laugh, no conversation will ever repeat in exactly the same way, we stop taking them for granted. Instead, we approach each connection with gratitude, presence, and a sense of reverence. Think back to your last conversation with someone who matters to you. Were you truly present, or were you distracted by your phone, your thoughts, or your to-do list? Imagine how much richer that moment could have been if you had listened with your whole heart, if you had given them the rare gift of undivided attention. Presence turns ordinary encounters into sacred exchanges. To love more deeply, begin by listening differently. Don't just hear words, hear the pauses, the tone, the emotions carried between the sentences. Look into someone's eyes when they speak. Nod, smile, and let your body say, I am here with you. This simple act is more powerful than the most elaborate gestures because it tells the other person, you matter. Next, practice gratitude openly. Don't wait for birthdays or anniversaries to say what's in your heart. Tell a friend how much their laughter brightens your day. Thank a family member for their small kindnesses. Leave a message of appreciation for someone who has supported you. These moments of acknowledgement often linger in memory far longer than we realize, planting seeds of love that grow silently over time. Finally, treat every shared experience as sacred. A simple meal, a stroll in the park, even a conversation in passing. These are not filler moments. They are treasures that will one day exist only in memory. And when they are gone, what you will miss most are not the grand occasions, but the small, unrepeatable moments of connection. Life is fragile. Relationships, like sandcastles, are temporary creations of extraordinary beauty. But that is precisely why they matter. Their impermanence is not a flaw. It is the very thing that makes them precious. So love fully. Be present. Treasure those who walk beside you, however briefly. For when you embrace the fleeting nature of life, you discover that every connection, every meeting, every shared silence is not ordinary at all. It is extraordinary. 6. Creating joy through attention. Imagine a wide meadow scattered with wildflowers. Each bloom leans gently toward the sun, its colors revealed only because light touches it. Without the sun's warmth, those flowers would remain unseen, fading quietly into the earth. Our attention works in the same way. Whatever we bring our awareness to begins to bloom. Whatever we ignore quietly withers, no matter how precious it might have been. In the race for achievement, most of us forget this. We rush past the very treasures that could bring us joy, convinced that happiness lies somewhere further ahead, in promotions, milestones, or the next accomplishment. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us, joy is not hiding in the future. It is already here, in the smallest details, waiting for us to notice. Think back to the last time you were fully present. Maybe it was a quiet sip of warm coffee, steam curling in the air. Maybe it was the sound of rain tapping softly against your window, or the laughter of someone you love filling the room. These moments may seem small, almost ordinary, but when held in awareness, they become extraordinary. They are the threads that weave a life of deep contentment. But here's the challenge. Our culture often tells us to look past the garden for the gate at the other end. We march forward, eyes fixed on the destination, forgetting that the garden is the point. Imagine walking through rows of roses, but never pausing to smell a single bloom. How different would life feel if you stopped, looked closely, and let yourself be moved by what is already here? To cultivate joy through attention, begin with reflection. At the close of each day, pause and recall 3 moments that brought you a sense of warmth or peace. It could be as small as the smile of a stranger, the chirping of birds at dawn, or the simple satisfaction of completing a task. Write them down or hold them quietly in your heart. Over time, you'll see that your days are not empty at all. They are overflowing with unnoticed blessings. Then bring mindfulness into your routines. When you eat, don't just consume, taste. Notice the colors on your plate, the texture on your tongue, the aroma rising toward you. When you walk, don't just rush, arrive. Feel the firmness of the ground, the rhythm of your steps, the wind brushing your skin. Attention transforms the ordinary into sacred rituals. Remember, joy doesn't demand that life be perfect. It doesn't require extraordinary events or grand gestures. It only asks for your presence. Just as sunlight reveals the beauty of wildflowers, your awareness has the power to reveal the beauty of life. When you give your full attention to what is here and now, happiness stops being something you chase. It becomes something you create, moment by moment, petal by petal, breath by breath. And perhaps the greatest secret of all is this: life's most enduring joys are often the simplest ones, hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to notice. 7. The illusion of control. Imagine standing in the middle of a rushing river, your hands pressed against the current, straining with all your might to push the water back. No matter how hard you fight, the river moves on, indifferent, unstoppable. Eventually, you are left exhausted, your strength drained, and yet the water flows as it always has. This is what life feels like when we cling to the illusion of control. We plan endlessly, we try to script every outcome, we tighten our grip on how things should unfold. But the harder we grasp, the more life slips through our fingers. Buddhist wisdom reminds us of a liberating truth. Peace does not come from mastering every detail, but from learning to flow with life as it is. To surrender is not to give up. It is to release the struggle against what was never ours to command. Life, like the river, bends and twists in ways we cannot predict. Some currents carry us gently, others toss us into turbulence. To resist these shifts is to suffer. But when we soften, when we move with the current instead of against it, we discover resilience and a freedom we never knew was possible. Think of a moment when things didn't go according to your plan. Maybe it was a career path that collapsed, a relationship that ended unexpectedly, or a day that unraveled into chaos. How much of your energy was spent resisting, trying to force reality into your design? Did it bring you closer to peace, or did it deepen your frustration? Now imagine if you had shifted your focus to what you could influence: your patience, your words, your actions. Wouldn't the weight have felt lighter? The practice of releasing control begins with this shift. Place your energy in effort, not outcomes. Do your work with presence and care, but let go of the need to guarantee results. When you trust the process, even setbacks transform into stepping stones. Uncertainty, too, can be embraced rather than feared. Some of life's most beautiful chapters begin with the unexpected. A closed door redirects you to a path you never considered. A detour leads you to a discovery you would have otherwise missed. The river's currents often know more than we do. And always, return to gratitude. The need for control is often born of fear of failure, of loss, of the unknown. Gratitude softens that fear. It shifts your attention from what might go wrong to what is already right. The breath in your lungs, the people who stand beside you, the simple fact that you are here, alive, in this moment. When you stop wrestling with the river, something changes. Challenges become teachers. Detours become destinations. The anxiety of uncertainty is replaced with trust. The river of life does not need your control. What it asks for is your trust. When you release the illusion of control, you do not lose power, you gain freedom. And in that freedom, you may just discover the peace that makes life worth loving again. 8. Finding growth in discomfort. Imagine holding a lump of raw gold in your hands. At first, it looks ordinary, dull, covered in rough edges, its brilliance hidden beneath layers of impurities. But when placed in fire, something remarkable happens. The heat strips away what doesn't belong, and slowly, its true radiance emerges. Life's challenges are that fire. They burn, they unsettle, they push us beyond our comfort zone. And yet, within their intensity, lies the power to shape us into stronger, wiser, and more resilient beings. In Buddhist philosophy, discomfort is not the enemy. It is a teacher, a messenger carrying lessons we would never discover in safety and ease. Pain, though difficult, often reveals truths about who we are, what we value, and how deeply we can endure. But in our modern world, we are conditioned to chase comfort at any cost. We avoid difficult conversations, silence emotions, distract ourselves with endless scrolling, or seek quick fixes to escape anything unpleasant. Yet avoidance does not bring growth, it only prolongs suffering and keeps us stagnant. Transformation requires stepping into the fire, trusting that even though the heat feels unbearable, it is also the very thing refining us. Think back to a moment in your life when you were tested. Maybe it was a failure that shook your confidence, a heartbreak that left you raw, or a challenge that seemed impossible to overcome. At the time, it may have felt like the end of your strength, but looking back, do you see how that very struggle shaped you? Perhaps it taught you patience when you had none, gave you resilience you didn't know you carried, or revealed an inner strength that would have stayed hidden otherwise. To discover growth in discomfort, the first step is perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" This shift transforms pain into curiosity. Suddenly, you are not a victim of the fire, you are a student of it. Another practice is to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. When anxiety, sadness, or frustration arises, breathe deeply and allow yourself to feel without judgment. Ask, "What is this emotion trying to show me?" By confronting discomfort directly, you take away its power to control you and uncover the wisdom it holds. And remember, growth is not immediate. Just as gold takes time to be refined, so too do we. The process is slow, messy, and often uncertain. But each trial is shaping you, burning away illusions, and leaving behind the brilliance of who you truly are. Discomfort, then, is not a curse but a catalyst. When you stop resisting and begin listening, every challenge becomes an invitation to evolve. Embrace the fire, trust its process, and you will emerge stronger, clearer, and more alive than ever before. 9. The power of letting go. Picture a tree burdened by heavy, lifeless branches. These branches no longer bear fruit, yet they drain the tree's strength and block sunlight from reaching its leaves. When the gardener prunes them away, the tree sighs with relief. Freed from its burden, it stretches higher, stronger, more vibrant than before. Our lives mirror that tree. We too cling to what no longer serves us, possessions that gather dust, relationships that wound instead of nurture, expectations that weigh on our spirit. These attachments feel safe, familiar, even comforting. But in truth, they are dead weight. When we finally release them, we create the space for renewal, joy, and freedom. What you let go of is often the very thing that sets you free. In Buddhist philosophy, the art of letting go lies at the heart of liberation. Suffering, the Buddha taught, arises not from the events of life, but from our clinging, our desperate insistence that things must stay the same, that they must match our desires. We grip tightly to possessions, roles, and identities, fearing that without them we are incomplete. But in that grip, we strangle our own peace. Think back to a loss you've endured, a job that slipped away, a friendship that dissolved, or a cherished object that broke. At first, the loss may have felt unbearable, as if part of your identity had been torn away. Yet over time, didn't you adapt? Maybe you discovered new opportunities, strengthened other connections, or realized you never truly needed what you lost. Letting go didn't make you weaker. It revealed your resilience. So how do we practice this art of release? Begin gently. Look at your attachments with honesty. Perhaps it's an item you've kept out of guilt, a grudge that poisons your heart, or an expectation you've imposed on yourself or others. Start with one. Donate something you no longer need. Forgive someone silently in your heart. Or simply take a breath and whisper to yourself, I release this. Another practice is to give your worries a shape and a place outside of you. Write them in a journal, let them spill onto the page. Then, close your eyes and imagine setting each worry on a leaf, watching it drift down a river until it disappears from sight. This visualization reminds you that life moves on, and so can you. Letting go is not weakness, nor is it resignation. It is an act of courage. Like pruning a tree, it does not diminish you, it makes room for growth. The emptiness left behind is not a void. It is fertile ground for new beginnings, deeper peace, and unimagined possibilities. When you free yourself from what no longer serves you, you discover not loss, but lightness. And in that lightness, you uncover the spaciousness to live and to love your life again. 10. Living with intention. Imagine stepping into a small patch of earth at dawn. The soil is cool, quiet, and full of possibility. In your hand are seeds, tiny, unassuming, almost weightless. Yet inside each one lives an entire season of color. They will not grow by wishing. They need water, light, and a gardener who shows up. Intention is like that, a seed you plant in the field of your day. Left unattended, life defaults to weeds and whatever blows in on the wind. Tended with care, it becomes a place you're grateful to return to. In Buddhist wisdom, intention is not a slogan. It's the direction of the heart. When we drift without it, we're carried by habit, urgency, and other people's timelines. Hours pass, then weeks, and we wonder why we feel scattered. But the moment we choose a direction, even a gentle one, the mind begins to settle. Attention becomes water. Action becomes sunlight. Boundaries become the small fence that protects what matters. Think of a time you acted from clear purpose. Work that actually meant something. A conversation where you were fully present. A kindness offered without counting the cost. Notice how those moments felt different. How time seemed to widen. How the ordinary turned luminous. That is the quiet power of intention. It doesn't make life perfect. It makes life coherent. Living with intention begins simply. At the start of the day, pause before the noise arrives. Place a hand on your chest and name what you're growing. Today, I will move with steadiness and gratitude. Or, today, I make space for real connection. Keep it small, living, and true. Then embody it. 3 slow breaths, shoulders softening, face unclenching, so the body remembers when the mind forgets. Distractions will knock. They always do. When they arrive, practice the gardener's question. Does this feed what I planted today? If yes, give it your full attention. If no, let it pass like a cloud. Before switching tasks, take a 3-breath reset and return to the compass you set in the morning. Intention is not a cage, it's a North Star. It doesn't predict the weather, but it keeps you oriented when storms roll through. Midday, when pace quickens, use simple anchors to stay aligned. A mindful sip of water as a reminder to slow down. A brief note to someone you care about as a reminder to love. 1 minute of stillness between meetings as a reminder to be here. Small acts, repeated gently, turn a theme into a life. At day's end, walk your garden. Without judgment, notice what you watered and what you forgot. Celebrate even a single seed that took root, a kind word, a focused hour. a moment you chose presence over hurry. If something withered, don't scold yourself. Adjust your tending for tomorrow. This is how intention matures, not through perfection, but through honest, loving attention. Remember, seasons change. Some days are for planting, some for pruning, some for rest. Living with intention means meeting each season wisely. You do not chase happiness across the horizon. You cultivate it where you stand, step by mindful step, choice by choice, breath by breath. And over time, almost without noticing, you look around and realize, this is a life you grew on purpose. Bonus lesson: learn to truly love your life. Imagine yourself seated by a window in a crowded cafe. Conversations ripple like waves, footsteps echo across the floor, and cups softly touch saucers. Yet in the middle of all that noise, you pause. You wrap your hands around a warm cup, inhale its earthy aroma, and let the world slow down. Suddenly, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. This is the essence of loving life, not by bending the world to our will, but by being awake to it, exactly as it is. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that true contentment does not come from chasing or clinging, but from noticing. Our culture tells us happiness is out there, tied to success, money, or status. But what if happiness has been here all along? Hidden, not in grand achievements, but in the moments so small we usually rush past them. The sunlight spilling through a curtain, the gentle rustle of leaves, the rhythm of our own breathing. When we stop measuring life by what we lack, presence reveals the treasures we already hold. Even the most ordinary routines can transform into sacred experiences. Washing the dishes, for example, doesn't have to be another chore. It can be a meditation, the warmth of water across your hands, the fragrance of soap, the quiet rhythm of cleaning one plate at a time. Folding laundry becomes a chance to feel the texture of fabric, to give thanks for the clothes that keep you warm. Walking becomes an act of communion with the earth, each step a silent bow to the ground that carries you. The Japanese teaching of Ichigo Ichi, one time, one meeting, reminds us of this. Every encounter, every breath, every smile is unrepeatable. When we live as if each moment is precious, something shifts. The dull becomes vibrant. The overlooked becomes a gift. This does not mean life will be free of pain or struggle, but it means joy is always available alongside it, waiting to be seen. When we meet each moment fully, whether joyful or difficult, we discover that happiness isn't found in changing the world, but in changing the way we see it. To truly love your life is to live as though nothing is ordinary. Every moment is a doorway, every breath an invitation, every encounter a treasure that will never come again. When you awaken to this truth, you stop chasing life and begin savoring it. As we've journeyed through these lessons, one truth has quietly echoed beneath them all. Life is fragile, fleeting, and impossibly precious. From learning to honor each moment, to embracing impermanence, to letting go of control and regret, we begin to see that happiness was never something distant to be chased. It has always been here, waiting for us in the present. Buddhism doesn't promise a life without challenges. Instead, it offers us the wisdom to meet those challenges with clarity, courage, and compassion. Each lesson is like a lantern, lighting a step on the path back to yourself. And with every step, you discover that peace, joy, and love are not outside of you. They are your natural state when you stop clinging, stop rushing, and start noticing. Remember this, you do not have to transform your entire life overnight. Growth is not dramatic. It is subtle, like the way dawn slowly brightens the sky. One mindful breath, one kind word, one moment of awareness at a time. That is how you create a life worth loving. So I invite you to carry these teachings into your days. Pause often, cherish deeply, let go gently, and live with intention, as if every moment is a gift, because it is. If these lessons have touched your heart, imagine the peace you'll find in the journey ahead. Subscribe to this channel, join this community of seekers, and let us walk this path together, step by mindful step, lesson by lesson. Life is not something to conquer, it is something to savor. And when you begin to live this way, you'll realize you don't just have a life, you have a treasure.